But minority in Parliament reject Attorney General's settlement deal with the uniBank founder, Dr. Duffuor, threatening to haul the AG to court over charges dropped.
Will consider its options of proceeding to court to challenge its decision in its entirety.
We have details as the Attorney General defends his decision to drop the charges, insisting his comprehensive approach has resolved both the criminal and civil aspects of the case.
As Attorney General, I take absolute responsibility for all the decisions so far taken. I am not under any instructions or pressure to discontinue any case or to bring charges against anyone. Those who are in a haste to tag His Excellency the President of the Republic as a clearing agent should hasten slowly.
We have details of all of these and more here on Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel, connecting energies. We speak to people who really understand in this matter in the next 30 minutes. Well, tonight, the minority in Parliament has served notice it will proceed to court to challenge the decision of the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, to drop criminal charges against uniBank founder, Duffuor. The charges were dropped after the state recovered 60% of the amount, which is subject to the criminal trial. Now, the minister has been given us a brief of how they intend to achieve that 60% of the amount. Today, the Attorney General has been defending his decision, insisting his comprehensive approach has resolved both the criminal and civil aspects of the case. Dr. Ayine explained that the decision followed a settlement offer received in March 2025 after negotiations, adding that under the agreed terms, assets worth 824 million cedis have already been handed over to the state. Additionally, a structured civil litigation pathway has been established to help recover a further 1.2 billion cedis. Listen to details.
At the time I assumed office and was approached by the lawyers for the accused persons, no asset tracing had been undertaken and no freezing orders had been obtained by my predecessors who filed the criminal charges. I could have been faced with a situation where the thief would have eaten 4 of the goats, thus leaving me with only one possibility, to recover only 2 goats. In other words, assets depreciate. Lastly, in respect of the case at hand, 100% recovery was not possible and a conviction was not guaranteed. In the circumstances, my team and I agreed to set a realistic threshold of 60% recovery. We recovered 824 million worth of assets, which will be handed over to the state, and established a structured pathway for recovering the additional 1.2 billion Ghana cedis through the civil, process. And these are monies that are being held by third parties that owed uniBank, including, for instance, and I think that this is very important, contractors owed uniBank at the time that it was placed in administration 2.9 billion Ghana cedis. uniBank made overtures to the state to say, look, the Minister of Finance, pay the contractors and let the contractors, because they will be paid through our bank, we can take the 2.9 billion and we can satisfy our books will, improve, and we can stay afloat as a bank. The then Minister of Finance flatly rejected that and and with the help of the Bank of Ghana, put uniBank into the situation in which we find ourselves. All right? A current finance minister could have put NIB through the same process, right? But instead of using money to collapse a bank, the Honorable Atuforsen has used the money to revive it, for it to keep jobs and then continue to operate in the banking sector.
But the minority will have none of that. Addressing journalists in Parliament, minority spokesperson on constitutional and legal affairs, Kwame Ayimedu, fired warning shots. And he says minority will go to court if the decision is not reversed.
The Parliament of Ghana, particularly, its Select Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs, to summon the Attorney General to answer these questions publicly. The Legal Counsel and Bar Association to investigate potential breaches of legal ethics and professional conduct. All patriotic Ghanaians to stand up against what appears to be the erosion of justice and the dangerous politicization of the prosecutorial process. Finally, may this press conference also serve as a formal notice to the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, that if his decision is not reversed within a reasonable time, the minority will consider its options of proceeding to court to challenge its decision in its entirety. Let it be known that justice must not only be done, but it must be manifestly seen to be done. Thank you.
Now, the minority went further to accuse the AG, Dr. Dominic Ayine, of a conflict of interest situation for his previous role as lawyer for Dr. Kwabena Duffuor.
Has Dr. Dominic Akuritenga Ayine in the past acted for Dr. Kwabena Duffuor and uniBank? In the case of the Republic versus Kwabena Duffuor and 7 others, is Dr. Ayine now the Attorney General of the Republic of Ghana? The deputy referred to him as the Attorney General, and today he has granted a press conference acknowledging that he gave out the press release and he tries to justify why he entered the nulli prosequi. Ghanaians would want the Attorney General to explain to us in full the extent of conflict of interest using Dominic Ayine as defense counsel and Dominic Ayine as the Attorney General. This he failed in the press conference to tell Ghanaians that he had acted for uniBank and that he had acted for Dr. Kwabena Duffuor. So I think he owes us as a country a duty to explain to us why and the extent of this conflict of interest.
So that's the minority spokesperson on constitutional and legal affairs, Kwame Nyemedu. Let me take you now to Parliament, where we're being joined by our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, Kweku Asante, with more on this particular, reaction by the minority. Kweku, the minority raised issue with a 60-40 policy. What did they say?
Well, according to the minority, while the Attorney General has announced that when it comes to these matters these days, the state will recover 60% of the amount involved, and if they do that, they consider it substantial. The minority say it appears no public policy is backing this program or this policy that is being undertaken by the Attorney General, and that it may appear very arbitrary because it hasn't come to Parliament and there's no law that they know about the AG to do that. Listen to Kwame Nyemedu on this matter.
The press release makes reference to 60% recovery threshold as a benchmark for reconsidering prosecutions. When was this policy introduced and under what legal authority? Was this benchmark made public or debated in Parliament? Was it quietly introduced post-2024 to lower the standards of accountability? For a case involving 5.7 billion, can the Attorney General confirm that 1 billion has indeed been recovered and provide documented proof of the recovery? It is strange that the Attorney General is insisting that the amount of 800 million cedis recovered from Dr. Duffuor constitute 60%. How did the Attorney General review the amount from the 5.7 billion to 1.2 billion by a mere administrative fiat?
Well, Kweku, how about their concerns in transparency?
Yes, according to Kwame Nyemedu again, who is speaking on behalf of the minority, and we hear him there criticize the maths that have been done by the Attorney General and the amount that has been recovered, which the government says constitutes 60% in the entire transaction that is being discussed. We also have real concerns about the transparency that's around this deal and what exactly may consume, because the Attorney General says he's being transparent by consistently speaking to this matter in the public, offering this explanation. The minority are not at all satisfied by the transparency levels that have been exhibited by the AG on this matter.
Transparency, as indicated in the press release, demands the learned Attorney General to explain to Ghanaians the principle of 60-40. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, once a nulli prosequa is entered by the Attorney General or the prosecution, we need not find out, and we don't need to find out questions. But he chooses to, if you read the press release, he chooses to justify why he had done that in the name of transparency. And that's why I say that transparency, as he had indicated in the press release, demands that he, the learned Attorney General, would explain to Ghanaians the principle of 60-40. If you're talking about 5.7 billion cedis and you tell us that you have retrieved 800,000 cedis, how can you say that that represents 60,000? And at any rate, is it a new policy directive, or when did this come into Ghana? When was this introduced into our criminal jurisprudence? What happens to the remaining 40%? To him, the Attorney General, today we heard him say that the 60-40, we can forget about the 40%.
So that is Ahimadu Enchi there. We'll be getting him on the line shortly so we can have an interaction with him. He is the minority spokesperson on constitutional and legal affairs. Kwame Ahimadu there. We'll be joining him shortly for an interaction. We'll also be speaking to an anti-graft campaigner on what they do as corruption fighters make of this particular decision by government. I mean, government says it will recover all loot. Is this one of the ways to recover? And if they are recovering, does the minority then have a case to say rescind the decision or we will head to court? We'll be having them here on the show shortly. But they also allege, that there is a conflict of interest there, because they say that Dr. Ayine served as a lawyer for Dr. Kwabena Duffuor some time ago on the same particular matter. We'll be getting all of those details here on the show for you. But if you look at the law, and you get into the Court Act 1993, Act 459, Section 35 talks about the offer of compensation or restitution. And it quotes that where a person is charged with an offense before the High Court or a regional tribunal, the commission of which he has caused economic loss, harm or damage to the state or any state agency, the accused may inform the prosecutor whether the accused admits the offense and is willing to offer compensation or make restitution and reparation for the loss, harm or damage caused. Where an accused makes an offer of compensation or restitution and reparation, the prosecutor shall consider if the offer is acceptable to the prosecution. Would want to understand whether or not this does not sit in the context of this particular provision. We've had Kwame Ahimadu on the line. We'll be getting him shortly. But if you move on further on the same, Section 35 of the Act, it says if the offer is not acceptable, the prosecution, acceptable to the prosecution of the case before the court, so the prosecution shall then proceed. It also talks about if the offer is acceptable to the prosecution, the prosecutor shall, in the presence of the accused, inform the court, which shall consider if the offer of the compensation or restitution and reparation is satisfactory. So that is what the law says. We want to understand from the lawyers, what they do make of this as well. But let's listen to the AG again, given reasons as to why that particular decision has been arrived at.
By the time I assumed office and was approached by the lawyers for the accused persons, no asset tracing had been undertaken and no freezing orders had been obtained by my predecessors who filed the criminal charges. I could have been faced with a situation where the thief would have eaten 4 of the goats, thus leaving me with only one possibility, to recover only 2 goats. In other words, assets depreciate. Lastly, in respect of the case at hand, 100% recovery was not possible and a conviction was not guaranteed. In the circumstances, my team and I agreed to set a realistic threshold of 60% recovery. We recovered 824 million worth of assets, which will be handed over to the state, and established a structured pathway for recovering the additional 1.2 billion Ghana cedis through the civil, process. And these are monies that are being held by third parties that owed uniBank, including, for instance, and I think that this is very important, contractors owed uniBank at the time that it was placed in administration 2.9 billion Ghana cedis. uniBank made overtures to the state to say, look, the Minister of Finance, pay the contractors and let the contractors, because they will be paid through our bank, we can take the 2.9 billion and we can satisfy, our books will, improve, and we can stay afloat as a bank. The then Minister of Finance flatly rejected that and and with the help of the Bank of Ghana, put uniBank into the situation in which we find ourselves.
We've been joined on the line by Alfred Tiayeboa. He's former Deputy Attorney General. Grateful to you, sir, for joining us here. Now, the Attorney General says he could have lost everything. The best decision, because assets depreciate, was to set a recovery threshold, and that's what they've done. What is wrong about this when the law gives or accepts this kind of arrangement to be made?
Thank you very much. It is not the case that recoveries are bad. As a prosecutor, if you are dealing with white-collar crimes, it is your expectation that even if you get conviction, you're able to recover the cost of that crime. Now, in this particular case, the Attorney General has told us that it's a decision that if you are able to refund 60%, you'll be forgiven 40%. That is where the problem lies. If, for example, the Attorney General has said that after considering the facts and looking at the circumstances of the case, the accused person had taken the advantage, or they decided to take advantage of Section 35 of the Force Act, or in the alternative, take advantage of the Plea Bargaining Act. That would have been different. But here's a situation whereby these accused persons, they have not been convicted. Nothing of that sort. In the statement, the AG issue said they are also not guilty, but they are making a refund of 60%, and based on that, the state should accept. During our time, there wasn't any single occasion where we entered NP because an accused person had agreed to refund 60% of the process of the crime. Because in this particular case, there's even no actual recovery in terms of cash. As that we corrected, we are told that 800 million are in assets. We are also told that the remaining amount will be recovered by Duffuor and his team because other people owe them. So when they recover those amounts, they'll be added and they'll get everything. And so if I were sitting in the shoes or in the seat of the Attorney General, I will not in any way enter NP based on such proposal. Because from what we are reading, it appears the accused persons in this particular case have more than what they offered the state.
But his argument that, at the time when this whole decision was taken to press charges against Governor Duffuor, his lawyers came to the government to say, we are owed by government contractors who are working for government up to the tune of some 2.9 billion cedis. And therefore, government could give us some time to recover all of these monies. I mean, was that not a strong reason enough for government to have looked at how to sustain the bank? And therefore, the bank says, or the AG says, because of that, because contractors that owe the government were owing the bank, we could then listen to their decision to say, let's pay 60% of it. You still say that all of that reason is not strong enough for the government to agree to the 60%.
This is what the AG is saying. I cannot confirm that the former finance minister was told that 9.9 billion was with government contractors, and for that matter, if those monies were paid, they declare their balance sheet and etc. But as prosecutors, what I know is that the amount involved was 5.7 billion Ghana cedis. 5.7 billion Ghana. So granted, just even 2.9 billion. How much was that? And who was going to pay the remaining amount? Today we are told that it's not 5.7 billion, or rather 3.3 billion.
That's the 60% of the amount, right?
Also that the receiver who went through the books and who was appointed by the Bank of Ghana after painstaking effort came with these figures. What has changed? That now, I don't know, the receiver was involved in this new computation, that suddenly 2.something billion, we are told, arose as a result of falsification of accounts. In any event, even if 2.2 or 2.1 billion came out as a result of falsification of accounts, that in itself is a crime. That in itself is a crime. That those who engage in that act ought to be charged and prosecuted.
But is the decision taken by the AG grounded in law?
In terms of its power to enter non-possible, I cannot question it. Because that is the power entrusted the Attorney General when it comes to prosecution of criminal matters. But it's only when the Attorney General chooses to proffer reasons for enter empty that some of us to now have the courage to also question the basis of that decision.
Well, but the Attorney General also says that the charges in the uniBank case were highly contestable, with a strong likelihood that the accused could have secured an acquittal by raising reasonable doubt in court. So, I mean, you disagree with the AG for raising this point, that instead of letting the case travel...
I disagree with the learned AG. Which offenses are not contestable in court? It is only offenses that accused person will come and say, I'm guilty. Then there's no contest. But so far as an accused person says, I'm not guilty, it's contesting the offenses. And it is the duty of the prosecution to prove the guilt of the accused person beyond reasonable doubt, which we have prepared ourselves to do. If the learned AG is now saying that those offenses were contestable and the state was likely to lose, then on what basis, if I may ask, did the accused persons also offer to make this payment?
I'm sure you are aware of this case. Are you saying the case you had was strong enough to secure the state a conviction?
As a prosecutor, we were very convinced that we had a solid case. In fact, our star witness, who appears to be the receiver, had testified. And that person has also testified. But if you're a prosecutor, that is your thinking that you will win. But I cannot say they had 100% case. But if the argument is being made that because the offense are contestable, the state was not going to win, then the other cases, because I know that's why it comes to the back of the enough, there are over 200, 300, or 400 other cases, some of which are in court now, and they are on the same offense. Then all those cases, with due respect, the Attorney General should also enter empty, because those offenses are their faces are also contestable. this how we want to build our criminal system? No.
So would you encourage a minority that has served notice that it will go to court to do so?
There are questions that we need answers from the AG and the receiver. There are questions. One, how come that the amount has dropped from 5.7 billion or so to 3.3 billion? Two, did the receiver know at the time that we were in the office that amount was not indeed 5.7 but 3.3? Three, if you are looking at the amount 3.3 and the state says 2 billion is enough so that the accused person will walk away with 40%, who is going to pay the 40%? Because I'll be the last person to contest the Attorney General with regard to this decision because that act is an act that was passed no offense. And I agree with Attorney General when it comes to recovery. Why is that about the mood? How are you going to do research that other accused persons will not take issue and also to the state? Because with this decision, I can press my last point. The other case pending in the court, bringing out of the party sector cleanup, since they've been told that the offenses that we leveled against the people and the rest are contestable, that the state was not likely to succeed. None of them is willing to be negotiated with the state. They say, if I get less contest, they must stay in court.
All right, let's see how this case, goes on. But you are faulting the AG for that particular decision that they've taken. I'm grateful to you.
I disagree with you. 60-40. If nothing at all, at minimum, we can get 100. And if we are also lucky, even together for restitution, that is what we did when we were in office. It's either you pay all plus something, or you pay all and then you are set free. There are precedents. I know that there are precedents in this country. Some people were willing to pay 100%, but this notwithstanding are in custody.
All right, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Alfred Tiayeboa, he is a former Deputy Attorney General here, and you heard us speak to him. He says he disagrees with the AG for that particular decision. We have Adam Senan on the line. Adam, what do you make of this decision by the AG? Hello, Adam. Okay, sorry, Adam. I want to find out from you what your thought is about the decision by the AG on this particular case. Hello, Adam.
Well, thank you. Yes, I can hear you. Can you?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear them. Apologies for that delay there, but that's all in Top Story today, brought to you by Telecel Connecting Energies. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Up next is News Night.
Big money day where too much money day. Telecel too much money promo drop. If you dial *500#, then join them for the Telecel too much money promo inside. You will win 100 Ghana cedis cash for the daily draws, 20,000 Ghana cedis for the weekly draws, then 1.2 million Ghana cedis for the grand draw inside. That be 1.2 million Ghana cedis. You for just reload airtime, then get points where we make you win. Make you dial *500# or go the Telecel Play up top. Then book inside riders give the Telecel too much money promo. Terms and conditions apply.
Telecel, connecting energies.
This promo will be NLA where they regulate them for the Caritas Lottery platform top.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me da na ma da with holy insecticide spray.
Holy Mosquito Coil, Holy Multi-Purpose Insecticide Spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
A mysterious bag, huge sum of money, a gun, a charm, all in one compound house. Tenants who are involved in fraudulent activities and a caring mother. Sika Bottle, a new epic drama series on Aquaba Magic, DSTV channel 150 and GoTV channel 102, premiering 23rd July at 8:30 p.m. Get your DSTV decoder at 89 Ghana cedis and GoTV decoder at 399 Ghana cedis today. Aquaba Magic, Ghana's most loved storyteller.
And of course, it's 30 years of joyfulness. Hashtag Stop Galamsey Now. Good evening and welcome to Newsnight.
Coming up in the next 60 minutes, unrest and curfew in Boku disrupts health services and education. Details as head of Municipal Security Council review police officers will be deployed to campuses to ensure candidates ride WASI in a safe environment.
The morning staff have closed and then new set is coming. So how the morning staff will close at 2 o'clock and go is a challenge. How the new staff will also come is also a challenge.
Plus, Peace Council raises concern over the proliferation of illegal arms. We'll speak to the Small Arms Commission.
If you were that is this.
Ghana's first Mpox death sparks outrage and criticism of complacency at the Ghana Health Service as confirmed cases spiked to over 250.
If you were that is this trajectory, you realize that the month of July, it has escalated. The question is, what are the Mpox protocols? When is the government, through its Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service, going to brief the people of this country on safety precautions?
We have details for you on the Mpox outbreak here on Newsnight. Also tonight, Attorney General details new evidence of wrongdoing in the ongoing National Service Authority scandal, including 189 million transfer into a Bank of Ghana account with 80 million cedis remaining unaccounted for.
But we found 2 checks bearing the name and account details of the former Director General, Mr. Osei Asibe, which had been used to withdraw funds totaling a little under 2 million Ghana cedis from the said account. We have therefore halted the filing of charges so as to await the receipt of the evidence from the relevant state agencies.
We have details as he says Operation Recover All Loot Oral is moving at a supersonic speed, firing back at the NPP over slow loot recovery claims.
By this time in 2017, had they convicted anybody? They are the ones who are leading this narrative that there is a delay in oral just to give us, a sense of desperation, make us look bad.
Coming up in business, IMF charges Bank of Ghana to maintain a tight policy stance as pressure mounts on central bank to cut its key lending rate by some significant margin.
And in sports, Ghana's Portia Boache and Grace Asanto are named in team of the tournament at the just ended Women's Africa Cup of Nations.
And then later we'll bring you excerpts from what many have described as a questionable definition of coding by the Deputy Communications Minister designate Mohammed Adams Sukbaru.
Do you know what coding is? Yes, I do. Kindly tell us what coding is.
Well, I want to join us, switch your views and comments all here on Newsnight 055-11-11997, and we'll also hear from members of Parliament as they eulogize iconic Ghanaian musician Daddy Lumba, with former Defence Minister Dominic Nitivo calling for a state funeral. Details of all that here on Newsnight.
Well, the early morning curfew in Boku is casting a long shadow over the township, with health workers struggling to report to duty. According to Municipal Chief Executive Isaac Azunaba, security escorts are being arranged to alleviate the inconvenience.
Well, the situation has taken a dire turn, with schools forced to close their gates due to growing insecurity as the West Africa Senior High School certificate examination looms next week. Concerns are mounting about the impact of the volatile situation on the academic calendar. The recent killing of 3 students from Nalerigo and Boku senior high schools has sent shockwaves through the community. Boku Municipal Director of Education Isaac Zasso has confirmed that the closure is necessary to safeguard life.
And we have decided to give the school a temporary break so that we'll go back to our various homes, to our families. And at the right time, management will communicate back to you. We are most concerned about the final year students who have just about a week to start their exams. When the break is given, we'll first and foremost call the final year students back. Then it will be followed with the Form 2s and then the Form 1s who are here. And I think that is the best decision for now. If all of us should return back to our parents, we can put their hearts and minds at rest. But if we continue to keep all of you here, the number of calls your parents will be calling to find out what is happening. We want to assure your parents that all of you are safe. And we'll make sure that we create a safe passage for all of you to get back home safely. Those who cannot go when the break is given, special arrangements will be made for you to remain with security provided for you as well.
But MC for Boku, Isaac Azunaba, says police officers will be deployed to campuses to ensure candidates write the exams in a safe environment next week.
Past 4 p.m., everybody is in their homes observing the curfew.
So what is the situation now? Is it calm, tense? What is your understanding of the situation in Boku today?
Generally, it's calm. We haven't had any issue from this side today. Generally, the municipality is calm.
So as of now, every student is out of the Boku Senior High School campus?
Yes, please.
But you know that those who are writing the WASI, they have just 1 week to write. What is the arrangement for them?
Yeah, so we have arranged together with the school authorities to transport these students with an escorted security to the campuses on the 4th of next month, I guess. They will be starting the exam on the 5th. So we'll bring them on Sunday, which is 4th, and then the following Monday, they will start the exam. We are engaging all stakeholders, including the traditional authorities, the communities, the surrounding communities, to be part of this peace building process. These safety measures we are putting on the campus for the students to write. We want them to support the process so that these students will have a safe environment and a peace of mind to write their exam. From the date of starting to the last day they will stay on campus. In addition, we are going to station security in the campuses, specifically the policemen will be stationed in all the campuses within the municipality to ensure safety for these students to write their exams.
And so, but what if the student is not resident of Boku? Probably, let's say in the northern region, in the Ashanti Bono region, and now that everybody has been asked to go home, what is the arrangement for such? Are they going to stay on campus?
Yes, they are going to stay on campus with the security in place. And as I said earlier, we are making plans to transport these students. We are going to have buses to most of the places where students are coming from. We will transport them back to the campus, and we will ensure that the security is in place to keep them safe to write their exams.
What about healthcare delivery? Is it in any way affected by the conflicts? Other government institutions, like, for example, the Assembly?
Oh, yeah, sure. You know, the curfew is 2 o'clock. Most offices close around 3 p.m. especially as you talk, the health facilities, they run shifts. As they run shift, by 2 o'clock, the morning staff have closed, and then new set is coming. So how the morning staff will close at 2 o'clock and go is a challenge. How the new staff also come is also a challenge.
But are they being provided with security? Because sometime back the Ghana Medical Association, they declared that their members were under attack and it was making it difficult for doctors and nurses to even accept postings to Boku.
Yeah, so I'm being in talks with the security agency to support sex staff with escorts to and fro from their homes to their workplaces.
All right, we'll leave it here for now.
And that there is the MC for Boku and Peril. He's been talking about the challenge that they're currently having to deal with when it comes to healthcare delivery. We'll be speaking shortly to the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Some of their members have been caught in the crossfire, but in the interim, though, we're also hearing tonight from the Peace Council. The Ashanti Regional Executive Secretary of the Council, Reverend Amwa Budu, says they are now very concerned about the proliferation of illegal arms following the raging conflict there.
More arms. If you can see the track of all these issues that has happened, when they went to the site, that is the security, they were able to identify that the issues in question, the weapon used was AK-47. And you find out from the AK-47, the total of 10 spent ammunition shells were used, and that has been also retrieved. So looking at it, the gun, when look AK-47, they can track and know where it is coming from. So if it is coming from there, is the Boku? Is it coming from a gun which we can find outside, that is from the Sahel, the gun from Burkina Faso? That is AK-47 is not just manufactured like any other thing. It's like a car. Anywhere it goes, it can be tracked. So is it, or somebody blocked it that he didn't register? So because more arms are working on some of these things, there are rooms for them to investigate some of these things. So the moment it is covered like that, that this thing which is happening is what is happening here. All these important evidence are always lost from the conflict. And when it happens like that, those perpetrating it becomes a challenge. We can also say, is it a spillover from the sub-region that is affecting the community? That one also needs to be investigated, because the AK-47 that they took away the shells, they can identify where it came from.
Let's bring in Perpetual Ofori Ampofo. He's the president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Perpetual, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. How are your members affected by this?
Good evening, Evans, and good evening to all your listeners. So the current situation is a great concern for the leadership of the association, because we have monitored the media and social media. We've heard the cries of some of our colleagues who are caught in the crossfire. For the past few days, from what they tell us, there's been a lot of gunshots. They are at home, they can't do much. Some are stuck in their homes with their children. And if the schools are going to be evacuated, which automatically means the teachers are going home, then it's important that we find a way of evacuating our nurses and midwives, especially those who are not indigenous of these areas, because they don't have any kind of family support over there and they are virtually on their own. It will be important that we help them to move from the area while stakeholders continue to work at ensuring peace in the area. And once stabilization comes about, why not they can return to those areas to work.
Do I hear you saying that you want your members evacuated?
Come again?
Do I hear you saying that you want your members evacuated?
Yes, especially those who are not indigenous of the area. And that's what I'm explaining, that they don't have that kind of family support or anything. They rely on themselves as colleagues, calling themselves. And with this new curfew, how do you go to work in the morning and get back to your home in terms of change of shift? And how do you go to work? It's not possible. It means they need to move from there, and they will need the security support to even move. So we are calling on the security forces, we are calling on the leaders of the communities to assist. But most important, we are engaging our employer, in this case, the Ghana Health Service, in the background to help the situation.
What precise help do you require? I had the MCs, for example, say that they're ready to provide security escort for nurses and doctors working in Boku.
From what we are told, it's gotten to a point where their lives are at stake. From what they tell us, it's not enough to stay at home if you don't have enough resources to keep you going in the days ahead. How do you stay home? So it's important that those who do not come from Boku anytime barrels and are working there, they were posted there by their employer, they should be assisted to move back to wherever they were posted from. They were probably living in Greater Accra region, Western region, Ashanti region, anywhere aside from the Upper East region. They should be assisted to move. Even in moving, they will require the assistance of the security forces. Because when there is conflict, you cannot provide care. You cannot provide care amidst conflict. And if there is no proper security, even at the place where you are providing the care, your life will be at risk. So, as we continue to pray that the stakeholders, those involved, can come to some amicable resolution of the issues, what we are calling for is evacuation of our nurses and midwives who are caught in the crossfire, so that they can go back to their families. Some have left their children and their husbands somewhere and they are working in Boku. So let's help get them back home.
Perpetual, thank you very much. And she is the president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Also joining me right now is joining Team Kojo, is a ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee in Parliament. Mr. Kojo, just out of curiosity, has your committee been updated and briefed yet on the situation in Boku?
Well, good evening to your cherished listeners. We've been having meetings on this. As a matter of fact, last week we held a joint committee briefing between the Defense and Interior Committee and Security and Intelligence Committee. We met we invited the Minister for Interior, Minister for Defense, the IGP, and among the discussion, very topical, was the situation in Boku. And then after that, we've seen this recent escalation, and we are going to engage again to ensure that the necessary collaboration that is needed to be brought to bear in de-escalating, and then the substantive matter also seeing to resolution. So we're engaging the necessary partners that we exercise oversight to ensure that we all support in resolving the situation in Boku.
And what do you make of the government strategy change from peacekeeping to peace enforcement?
What I would say in this matter is that, first and foremost, my condolences to all the bereaved families. Since the situation started, the situation has been there, persisted for some time now. So I won't single out any particular incident, but all the casualties, those that have sadly lost their lives over the period, my condolences to all the families involved. And we're also urging calm. We are appealing to all the feuding parties to exercise restraint, and we are urging calm that let us all support the 2-4 or 32-led mediation to resolve the underpinning chieftaincy dispute. And would also urge that in this matter, it is a concern to all Ghanaians. Let us all put politics aside. No one will benefit from politicizing this matter. It's very volatile, it is sensitive, and so this is a time for us all to come together as one and to support every tenable measure that is acceptable and that will ensure we have lasting peace in Boku.
Thank you very much. That is the ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee, John Intim Kojo. Still live your news. Night is on Joy 99.7 FM. And on Top Story, we brought you the details from that press conference, peril, addressed by the Attorney General. But there is more.
Well, Dr. Dominic Ayeni says that his office has uncovered fresh evidence of malfeasance in the ongoing NSS scandal. While speaking at the Government Accountability Series at the Jubilee House, Dr. Ayeni revealed that an amount of 189 million cedis was transferred into an account at the Bank of Ghana under the previous administration. However, 80 million cedis out of that total amount cannot be traced. He further disclosed that 8 suspects, including 3 former officers of the NSS, have approached his office for plea negotiations.
Trials have commenced in the case of the Republic versus Kobina Edubohe and 3 others, and that of the Republic versus Solomon Asamoah and another. That is the SkyTrain case. In the Kobina Edubohe case, we are calling only 3 prosecution witnesses. Our first witness has concluded his testimony. But for the third accused person's sudden withdrawal in open court of her lawyer's service, our first witness would have been discharged to give way to the second prosecution witness to start testifying. We expect our second witness to start testifying before the beginning of the legal vacation on July 31st, 2025. In the SkyTrain trial, we have concluded the case management conference. It is important to add that, but for the change of solicitors and the multiple medical excuses of the second accused person, that is Prof. Ameyaw Ekumfi, and recently of the lawyer for the first accused person, we would have called 2 of the 6 witnesses by now. That notwithstanding, the trial in the SkyTrain case is expected to start before the beginning of the legal vacation. The National Service Authority scandal case was due to be filed last week, as promised, when we stumbled upon evidence of malfeasance involving an account at the Bank of Ghana to which had been transferred an amount of 189 million Ghana cedis. Out of this amount, 80 million Ghana cedis cannot be traced. But we found 2 checks bearing the name and account details of the former Director General, Mr. Ose Asibe, which had been used to withdraw funds totaling a little under 2 million Ghana cedis from the said account. We have therefore halted the filing of charges so as to await the receipt of the evidence from the relevant state agencies, including the Bank of Ghana, Ministry of Finance, and the Controller and Accountant General's Department. In fact, as I speak, the Bank of Ghana signaled to me that this morning they are going to deliver the entire, bank statement, for my attention. I am, however, happy to announce that at least 8 suspects in this investigation have approached my office for plea negotiations, including 3 former officers of the National Service Authority. Some officials have offered to testify against their colleagues, and some vendors and service providers are willing to come clean and testify as prosecution witnesses. When you build your docket well, this is the result that you get.
So you had Dr. Dominic Ayeni there. Well, our presidential affairs correspondent, Maxwell Agbadba, was at that press conference. And Maxwell, the Attorney General also gave more updates on investigations involving the Ashanti Regional NPP chairman, that's Chairman Wontumi, and the former CEO of the National Buffer Stock Company, and others. What more can you tell us from that press briefing?
Yes, Peril. So he said the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, has wrapped up its investigations involving the Ashanti Regional NPP chairman and then Abdul Wahab Hanan, along with other implicated individuals. Now, he says the outcome of these investigations will be made public soon. He says the CID has also concluded its probe into the Akonta mining case.
Now, a report on the docket for the oral cases, including the mathematical sets, the All Africa Games, and the DRIP scandals are being prepared by the National Investigation Bureau for my attention. I expect to receive that investigative report in a few weeks for work to begin on filing charges in court. The Economic and Organized Crime Office has completed investigations in respect of Wontumi, Chairman Wontumi, and the former National Buffer Stock Company CEO, Mr. Abdul Wahab Hanan, and their accomplices. The results of both investigations will be announced very soon. The police CID have also completed a docket on the Akonta mining case and submitted same to my office. We have prepared charges and sent them back to the police CID for the suspects to be formally charged before their arraignment in court in the coming days. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, my fellow countrymen and women, I wish to remind you of the fact that when I announced the Kwabena Iduboahen investigation, I was blunt in stating the fact that I am open to engaging in plea bargaining with those who have been investigated and found to have looted or stolen state resources. I minced no words about my intentions and will therefore not shut the door to any accused person willing to enter into negotiations with my office for purposes of reaching a plea agreement. My approach is in consonance with the central plank of the oral, which is to recover the loot, which is to recover all the loot. But of course, you use all advisedly, because as I have pointed out clearly, it is not in all cases that it is possible to recover all the loot. So you recover some, realistically possible.
Well, Max, of course, we know that a lot of things came up at that press conference. Well, Dr. Dominic Ayine also touched on Kwabena Iduboahen in the Sky Train cases. What exactly did he say?
Well, in the Kwabena Iduboahen case, he says they are calling only 3 prosecution witnesses. The second witness will start testifying before the beginning of the legal vacation on July 31. He says they've encountered, some delays. He says despite these delays, the Attorney General, he says the trial is still expected to commence before the legal vacation begins.
Trials have commenced in the case of the Republic versus Kwabena Iduboahen and 3 others, and that of the Republic versus Solomon Asamoah and another. That is the Sky Train case. In the Kwabena Iduboahen case, we are calling only 3 prosecution witnesses. Our first witness has concluded his testimony. But for the third accused person's sudden withdrawal in open court of a lawyer's service, our first witness would have been discharged to give way to the second prosecution witness to start testifying. We expect our second witness to start testifying before the beginning of the legal vacation on July 31st, 2025. In the SkyTrain trial, we have concluded the case management conference. It is important to add that, but for the change of solicitors and the multiple medical excuses of the second accused person, that is Prof. Ameyaw Ikunfi, and recently of the lawyer for the first accused person, we would have called 2 of the 6 witnesses by now. That notwithstanding, the trial in the SkyTrain case is expected to start before the beginning of the legal vacation.
Well, finally, the AG pushed back on claims that Operation Recover All Loot is dragging. Well, he suggests it's rather the NPP creating that impression. Maxwell, what more did he say?
Yes, Peril, he did not mince words at all. In fact, he compared the number of people who were convicted under the NPP around the same period with those under this administration. He says it is the NPP that is leading the narrative to make the current government look bad.
If you go back to 2017, by this time, how many people were convicted by the NPP? How many cases were filed by the NPP? In fact, trials hadn't started in any case because, remind you, as a senior member of the NDC legal team, I was almost invariably involved in most of the cases that were brought. Or I used to, sometimes if I'm not counsel, I will attend court. By this time, in 2017, had they convicted anybody? They are the ones who are leading this narrative that there is a delay in oral just to give us, a sense of desperation, make us look bad, But come to think of it, I have given you an update. When we file our charges. Within 2 weeks, we file our witness statements and supporting documents. That is a record. In the Duffuor case, it took 6 months to file witness statements. You can go back and check. 6 months to file just witness statements. We file within 2 weeks. That should tell you how hard we are working and how diligent we are with our investigations. There is no delay whatsoever. We are going at a very supersonic speed as far as oral is concerned. Now, also remember that, conviction depends, on the judge, on the court.
You heard there the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine.
Well, Pel, you recall that the Attorney General also touched on Chairman Wontumi.
Exactly.
His lawyer is with us on the line right now, Andy Appiah-Kubi, speaks for him, but also is his lawyer. Thank you, Mr. Appiah-Kubi, for your time here on Newsnight. We had the AG say that the charges are ready. It's been sent to the police. Has your clients been formally charged?
Well, as you speak now, my client has not been charged formally. And we were expecting the investigators to complete their assignment and then prepare the charges and, of course, initiate the criminal trial, and we'll be there to defend our clients. But as we speak now, we have not been formally charged.
The AG says he's open to plea bargaining. Are you entertaining that thought?
Well, let's wait for the charges to come. We'll make appearance to court and we'll see the options.
Has your client been cooperating, though, since he was granted bail after that long detention?
Please come again.
Your client, how is he cooperating with the investigations after he was detained, leading to your own intervention to get him out?
But he has given his caution statement, and it is for the investigators to conclude and they prepare the charges for us and send us the charge sheet and supporting documents for us to start our defense also. So we have not been served any such thing. And as Attorney General is saying, and the police charge us for court, we will do appearance. And the things that I want to indicate is the fact that the Office of Attorney, an office for the Minister for Justice, and therefore he has a duty also to ensure fair trial and also give the accused adequate time, opportunity, and resources to be able to defend themselves. So I'm sure that will be accorded the necessary courtesies as we make appearance in court. So we are ready.
And just to be clear on his offer to plea bargain, you're saying that once you see the charges, is something that you would or you may consider?
Well, it is part of the considerations that we'll be able to resort to. But until we are served with the charge sheet, and as I told you from the beginning, we have not been served with any charges whatsoever. So when we are so served, then we will consider all possibilities.
Grateful. And the Apiakubi there is lawyer for Chairman Wontumi and still ahead here on Newsnight. In our latest documentary, Mothers in Peril, we'll take you to the Bongo district, where mothers are forced to go home to bath after giving birth because their health facilities have no water. More as international NGO WaterAid urges equal distribution of water and regular supply by the Ghana Water Company.
This is a district that is sitting on the Via Dam. Ghana Water takes its source from the Via Dam and supply to Bolga and its environs. Yet, the people of Bongo, where the resource sits, do not have their share of the Ghana Water supply.
And George Rafi is here with the latest in the world of business. George, good evening.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm fine.
Okay. So let's get you business. And basically, coming up, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama highlights a fresh potential risk to inflation outlook, which could impact on setting of new policy rate, including rising crude prices and exchange rate volatilities. Meanwhile, the IMF is charging the Bank of Ghana to maintain a tight policy stance as pressure mounts on the central bank to cut its key lending rate by some significant margin. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials, Synthesis tanks and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal.
Ah, Ma, have you received the delivery?
Sis, yeah, the rider's bay. Send in the momo.
Okay, star 176.
Ah, Paco, don't you use a smartphone? Use a momo app, ne?
Huh? Abba app.
Hey, I want to say a millennium, say millennial. Inim. Oh, millennium for ya nyaze. Switch to the app. Oh, you're smart. And oh, you're secure.
Enter a world of possibilities with the Momo app. Pay your favorite merchant, pay utility bills, and borrow from our wide range of lending services. Move to the app side today. MTN.
M&C Group is a leading investment holding company with expertise in minerals and food commodity trading, precious minerals refinery, real estate development, and logistics and energy. With individually registered companies, our headquarters is located in Accra, Ghana, with operational offices in Dubai, UAE, Hong Kong, and Guangzhou in China, Johannesburg in South Africa, Virginia in the USA, and Milan, Italy. We connect business markets and drive growth Trust us to maximize value in every deal. Call us on 0302 551 917 or 0302 551 918 or send us an email mncgroup@mncgroupgh.com. MNC Group, totally reliant.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first port of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office,
Takweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Temania Community 4, Takoradi opposite Vijay Mays Plaza, Cape Coast University Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic Center Point Mall, Winneba University Campus, KNUST, the University Bookshop, and Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit our shop online, www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764-101. Email info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Cavity protection.
This advert is FDA approved.
Every mosquito started run away. Oh, come on, tonton preko. Sasso, me se come tonton preko. Oh, come on, tonton preko. Sasso, come tonton preko. Nani shamne die demonstronko.
This advert is FDA approved.
Ama, big news! Star Oil is now the largest oil marketing company in Ghana.
Wow, that's huge!
Yes, so the largest distributor of petroleum products in Ghana. Ever since I switched to Star Oil, my car runs smoother. The fuel lasts longer, no strange engine sound, just clean, powerful performance.
Oh, same here. I used to refill every 3 days until I switched to Star Oil. Now, my fuel lasts way longer. I don't know what magic is inside, but my car loves it.
Exactly. It's not magical. From Accra to Kumasi to Tamale, Star Oil day everywhere with 240 filling stations and counting. That's why more Ghanaians are choosing Star Oil.
Hey, my tank is almost empty. I am heading to Star Oil right now before the queue starts.
I'm right behind you, Amma.
We set out with a mission to serve better and lead boldly. We're proud to say we are Ghana's #1 oil marketing company. To our loyal Star Savers across the country, thank you for believing in us. Star Oil, quality and affordable fuels for all.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama has highlighted fresh set of risk to the inflation outlook. The governor is therefore asking members of the Monetary Policy Committee to be guided by these developments. There is more in the following Business Desk report.
Addressing members of the Monetary Policy Committee, the Bank of Ghana Governor noted that these developments should act as a guide in whatever the members would do.
We must be aware, colleagues, of the risks going forward, such as a resumption of exchange rate volatility, crude oil price could increase, and the potential impact of some taxes to be imposed within the context of the mid-year budget review.
Dr. Johnson Isiama also maintained that the members should look at the current macroeconomic situation, whatever decision that they will take.
Colleagues, these can cause a shift in inflation expectations, and there are risks that we cannot take lightly at all.
He also gave a clean bill of health for the banking sector, as well as the fiscal situation.
Economic activity has picked up significantly, and provisional GDP data for the first quarter of 2025 indicates a real growth of 5.3%. The banking sector, colleagues, remains stable.
But for some, the concerns raised by the governor of the Bank of Ghana showed that we should be measured in our expectations, especially for those who are looking forward to a huge cut in the policy rate.
And that is a business desk report. Meanwhile, the IMF is urging the Bank of Ghana to maintain a tight monetary policy stance despite the recent pressures. Julie Kozak is Director of Communications at the IMF, and she has been speaking at a news conference in Washington, D.C., USA.
I can add that the mid-year budget review is fully in line with parameters and objectives of the IMF. And with respect to the question on monetary policy, what I can say is that Ghana has made good progress since the beginning of the program in reducing inflation. Inflation was extremely high at the end of 2022 at 54%. It has now come down substantially to 14% at end June 2025. Going forward, it will be important for monetary policy to remain sufficiently tight, consistent with bringing inflation down to the Bank of Ghana's target range, which is 8% plus or minus 2 percentage points.
And Julie Kozak is a Director of Communications at the IMF, speaking at a news conference in Washington, D.C., USA. Now, the Minister for Trade, Industry and Agribusiness, Elizabeth Ofusojari, has told journalists today that today's agribusiness dialogue is expected to come up with an agribusiness policy that will be used by government. According to her, the draft policy will be ready before the end of the week to allow further consultation before the final approval by Cabinet.
I'm expecting a policy that speaks to the issues of agribusiness, that solve problems and give opportunities, because it's tried learning that agribusiness can be a game changer. It's tried learning that agribusiness can change the fortunes of our economy and create a lot of jobs for our teeming youth. Something for everybody in the chain. For the young people interested in technology, you heard the talks about drones, precision agriculture, manufacturing. There is something in for everybody. And so we want a policy that is investor friendly, that kind of encourages people to invest in that space.
Minister for Trade, Industry, Agribusiness, Elizabeth Ofusojari. Now, the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs is championing a nationwide campaign to empower young women in business through the National Business Agenda. Chief Executive Sharif Ghali says that the initiative is well serves the plan of holding all partners accountable.
We launched the National Business Agenda last year, and the National Business Agenda for women and youth doing business is more or less an action plan or a work plan that would show what government needs to do, what the private sector needs to do, what the development partners need to do, even what the financial institutions need to do. So together we bring ourselves and learn from each other and hold each other accountable. And this is one of the best ways I think that we can work together. A platform for accountability, a platform for tracking progress, a platform for tracking programs. And that is what we've been doing. So you would see that there's a role for the presidency to play, there's a role for ministers to play, there's a role for agencies to play. And this is how we are doing to bring these agencies together to work in supporting these young women entrepreneurs.
And Sharif Ghali is the Chief Executive of the Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs. Now let's turn our attention to the stock market. And if you're an investor in GCB Bank, it was up by 2 pesos to close at 9 Ghana cedis, 49 pesos. That of SIC Insurance was down by a peso and it's now worth 1 Ghana cedi, 12 pesos. If you had invested on the Ghana Stock Exchange from the beginning of the year to now, you've made more than 42% return on the market. Quite better compared to other investment instruments on the market. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Peril.
Thank you very much, George. You are fearful of the latest in the world of business. We can now do sports. Daniel Cranting is here.
Thank you very much, Pearl. Ghanaian duo Grace Asantua and Portia Boache have been named in the CAF Women's Africa Cup of Nations team of the tournament following their standout performances at the competition. Now, despite a sluggish start, the Black Queens rallied impressively to clinch third place, overcoming Algeria in the quarterfinals and dethroning defending champion South Africa in the third place playoff. The pair's inclusion in the tournament's best 11 sees them join a host of African stars, including Nigerian duo Esther Okoronkwo and Rashidat Ajibade. The Black Queens, still speaking of the Black Queens, they arrived in the country earlier today, and present at the airport to welcome them was GFA President Ketu Kriku. He says he's proud of the team's achievement.
I am very humbled by this amazing feat by the Queens. I think that it's a testament of their dedication towards the work, and they have proven beyond reasonable doubt that they have the right levels of passion, and they really want to defend the red, gold, and green colors of our dear country. I think that it's a moment for them to enjoy, because they have done some good work for the country, and once this period is gone, we'll have the chance to resettle and think about our collective future. But at the moment, it is time to enjoy.
GFA President Ketu Kriku speaking there. The Black Queens head coach Kim Lars Bjorkegren expressed his delight at his team's performance and said the only way is up.
I have believed in the girls the whole time, and I believe in myself as a coach as well. And I hope I'm not sounds like an arrogant person, but I have been doing this job for so long time, so I know when we're moving in the right direction. That has been the case the whole time, but sometimes the results takes a little bit of time, and we use the friendly games to be prepared for the upcoming tournament, and then we worked really hard in the pre-camp and make sure that we were fit enough to play this tournament, and we did a great job, and I'm really proud of the girls.
Black Queens head coach Kim Lars Bjorkegren. Bring that into sports. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Daniel Krante. Now, Evans, let's go to the Upper East region, because mothers in the Bongo district are faced with the ordeal of having to go home immediately after giving birth in health facilities to take a bath. That is because those facilities have no toilets and no running water.
Well, in our latest documentary, Mothers in Peril, produced in partnership with WaterAid, we uncover the silent struggle of women giving birth in some of Ghana's most underserved communities. And we'll be hearing from WaterAid itself pretty shortly, because they've been articulating the solution to the challenges that we uncovered in that documentary. Before that, though, here's an excerpt.
This is Konkua, a small farming community in the southwestern part of the Bongo district with a population of over 1,000 people. This small community-based health planning and services CHIPS Center is the only healthcare facility here. Both pregnant women and nursing mothers come here for antenatal and postnatal services. But the facility has no access to water and no washrooms or toilets. Mary Ania has been coming to this facility for some years now. She received antenatal care and delivered her second child in this facility.
Because there's no water here, I have to send my sister to go home and carry and bring me water so that I can take my bath here. I went home and came back here with rashes all over my baby.
Like Mary, these two expectant mothers coming for antenatal care are facing similar difficulties due to the lack of access to water and sanitation facilities. They say they are not even able to collect their urine samples in a dignified manner for lab tests.
The lack of water at the facility always forces the midwife to discharge you immediately after delivery. The only option is for your relatives to bring you water from home. This often takes long, and you would have been exposed to infections before getting the water.
The last time I delivered, I had to wait to be discharged the next day before I could have a bath. The urinal is outside and it's far from us. It's best to have it inside to enable us to easily access it.
According to the Bongo District Director of Health Services, Estella Abazese, many of the healthcare facilities in the district were built without the provision of proper water, sanitation and hygiene wash facilities because they were not intended to admit patients or for complex procedures such as delivering pregnant mothers.
So we've had situations, we deliver children, neonates, send them home, and within the next 2 days they are back at the hospital with sepsis. And we can't rule out the possibility that our infection control practices at the facilities without water is challenging and surely will have an effect in the spread of infections.
So you had an excerpt of our latest documentary, Mothers in Peril. Well, WaterAid, which has been at the forefront of providing boreholes for such deprived communities, is strongly advocating for the supply of potable water by the Ghana Water Company Limited. Here is the head of strategy, policy and campaign at the NGO, Ibrahim Musa.
When you get the groundwater to be safe, you can mechanize and pipe to long distance, but that comes with heavy costs. But this is a district that is sitting on the Via Dam. The Via Dam, Ghana Water takes its source of water supply from the Via Dam and supply to Bolga and its environs. Yet, the people of Bongo, where the resource sits, do not have their share of Ghana Water supply. So you can see what we call water justice issues here. So one will ask, why will Ghana Water be drawing water from Via Dam, which is on Bongo soil, yet the community or district that is grappling with fluoride, that same water cannot be piped and serve the whole district. That's why I say your question is very important.
But have you had any sort of engagements with Ghana Water? What is their explanation as to why Bongo, the community that they're drawing the water from, is unable to access water?
In fact, for the past 2 years, we've been having the dialogue. This current government, we've had some dialogue. We've met with the chief executive of Community Water and Sanitation Agency. And so within the context of the resetting agenda, we are hoping that things will change. But problems don't just get solved by word of mouth. It has to be driven by resource allocation, which means that government must significantly allocate the needed financial resources in the budget to Community Water and Sanitation Agency and also Ghana Water Company, because this is a heavy capital-intensive project to be able to pipe water from the Via Dam to supply, the people of Bongo. This should not be something that government cannot solve. We believe government can solve it.
Ibrahim Musa is the head of strategy, policy and campaign at the international NGO, WaterAid.
Well, let's do another health-related challenge. The Ghana Health Service is now facing the backlash as the country records its first Mpox-related fatality. Now, Ghana recorded its first case in 2022 with a total case count of 257 with no admissions at the time. Speaking on Prime Morning on the Joy Prime channel, Dr. Joseph Oliver Kome, head of the Infectious Disease Center, says the rise in cases may be due to growing complacency, even within the health system. We'll listen to him shortly, but first listen to the Member of Parliament on the Health Committee, a member of that committee, Dr. Kingsley Ajiman, who says the spike in cases points to government neglect and lack of urgency.
The Committee on Health has not had any briefing on, and we don't have to even have a briefing on. You see, if you talk of such viral disease conditions, it must be greeted with a very high level of communication. It's a clear case of the government's neglect towards this particular disease condition, which is spreading very fast. If you watch the disease trajectory, you realize that the month of July, it has escalated. The question is, what are the Mpox protocols? When is the government, through its Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service, going to brief the people of this country on safety precautions? We have to do the comparison. How did we approach COVID? What were the protocols that were put in place? There was almost an immediate thing to curtail it. Health promotion was very intentional and deliberate. We've not been briefed as Parliament. The people of this country do not know what is happening.
We can now hear from the head of the Infectious Disease Center, Dr. Joseph Oliver Kome, who warns that the spread could intensify if immediate action is not taken.
here to stay. Occasionally, we may have outbreaks, but it's an endemic. What we think we are doing wrong is that maybe we've taken our eye off the ball a little. When we had a lot of cases, no death, so everybody felt it was just a simple, normal disease. And so maybe we stopped taking the necessary precautions. But maybe after one mortality, we will start looking at things and looking at things better. I must say that on the whole, we have done some good work. It's unfortunate that we've lost one person. Currently, we know that there are 3 regions where we tend to have high cases, mainly in the Western region, Greater Accra region, and then the Western North region. So that's where we're concentrating most of our efforts. Well, we're still trying to understand the disease pattern in those areas, maybe also because those areas are actually looking for the cases. So we must say that they are really advanced in how they look for the cases, highly sensitized. The community is aware, and the community is reporting the cases easily.
It's all live on News 90 on Joy 99.7 FM. And Peril, I'm pretty sure you have been following the developments following the passing of that High Life legend, Daddy Lumba. Do you remember any of his favorite songs?
Yes, there's one I love so much.
Which one is that?
Ensure against.
Goodness me. All the songs that you can find from Lumba, Ensure against. By the way, some members of parliament have been giving us their fond memories of him, eulogizing him, celebrating this iconic Ghanaian, Charles Kojo Daddy Lumba, who passed on over the weekend. Former Minister of Defense, Dominic Nittle, says a late musician deserves a state burial. We'll hear from him shortly, but listen to MP for Mensah North, Akwesi Kunedu, deliver a statement on the floor.
Music brought people together across age groups, political divide, and ethnic lines. Whether at family gatherings, weddings, political events, national celebrations, his music played in the background, evoking nostalgic, joy, reflection, and a deep sense of emotions. Through his art, he managed to build bridges and foster the sense of national pride. Many young musicians today cite Daddy Lumba as their greatest influence and inspirations. He opened doors for future generations of high life artists, mentoring some directly and indirectly, and shaping the industry through the standards that he set. His ability to reinvent himself whilst remaining true to his roots kept him relevant.
We can also hear from Dominic Nittle, who says Daddy Lumba must be honored with a state burial in Accra.
For an extraordinary human being, Mr. Speaker, forgive us, but we are mourning the best of the best. Forgive us, for we shall never forget the name Charles Kojo Fosu, a.k.a. Daddy Lumba, a.k.a. DL. On that day, let all of us be present to mourn him, wherever the funeral will be held, whether in Suta, whether in Kumasi, or whether in Accra. But I wish the state will give him a state barrier here at the forecourt of Parliament for the people of Ghana to come and mourn him. And I bet you the streets of Accra will be full. I went to the gym today and everybody was playing Daddy Lumba songs. You move all the parties of Accra, people are playing Daddy Lumba songs.
And that's true, like in the background.
Of course.
You're going to ask me what.
Oh yes, I was going to ask you your favorite.
I know you want to get back at me.
Yes, of your favorite. Your favorite.
That's the one in the background.
Are you a Lumba fan?
I am.
Really?
I can just play Lumba on my way home after a hard day's work because I just love his life. High life.
High life, yes.
His kind of high life, by the way. And Teresa is one of my favorites.
Teresa Bebre.
Track in the background there, and we've just been hearing the members of Parliament. It is a pretty much a somber moment in Parliament, talking about Daddy Lumba, and so let's leave it with something that hopefully will put a smile on your face.
Well, let's go back to the parliamentary vetting drama from last Friday. Mohammed Adams Suparu, the hopeful Deputy Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, faced a question that would make even the most seasoned techies sweat, defining coding.
Well, the committee member, Jerry Ahmed Shaib, probably thought it was, what a verb kind of question. I mean, very easy, walk in the park. But Subaru's response had everyone raising an eyebrow.
Yes, I do. Kindly tell us what coding is. Coding is providing training for young men and women in the IT space. Pardon? Providing training for young men and women in the IT space. You gotta be kidding. Training them in web design, training them in, how to build software and what have you. Basically, this is what coding is, Mr. Chairman.
And yo, this is horrible. Put your hands together for Jesus.
Where is the correlation between the two? I'm disappointed. I think the Deputy Minister designate needs to go and do his homework, but I'm worried.
Parliamentary.
So, Evans, what is coding?
Coding?
Yes.
Coding is when you train, people and you give them. That's what the minister said. If the communication minister designate has said, who am I to say otherwise? That's it for News Night tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Hello, Pal.
Hello, Evans. It's been nice being with you tonight.
Catch you again tomorrow.